Breaking news this afternoon. Arsenal have now submitted, maybe earlier than expected, their £50 million bid for Ben White, the Brighton and England defender. They had a £40-odd million bid rejected about a week or so ago. There was always the sound this was going to happen. Ben White has been very encouraged. He's very eager to join Arsenal Football Club and join the revolution there under Mikel Arteta. The bid's been worked on all week. There was a lot of talk that maybe Arsenal would delay this. Maybe they would wait a week or two, maybe to secure a sale of a player. But it does appear that because they've had so much encouragement from Ben White, because there's been so much encouragement from his camp, they have struck now. They have struck early to get this deal done in the transfer window. It's moving in. It feels very close. It feels very imminent that Ben White will be a £50 million centre-back summer signing for Arsenal Football Club. I want your thoughts. I want your feelings on this. I want to know, is this good business by Arsenal? Are they overpaying? Are they actually buying one of the best up-and-coming young defenders in European football, and maybe £50 million in the space of the next 2 to 3 years is going to look cheap, not only for him, but for centre-backs in general? I want your thoughts and feelings. Make sure you're hitting the retweet button if you're watching over on Twitter. Smash that like button for me as well. We're going to open up the lines for you to come on and have your say. I want to know what you're thinking and feeling. A lot of talk about 50 million being a little bit too much money. There's a question here from Man Like Neeks. Is Saliba's time at Arsenal over? Well, the reports are that they're not. The reports are they're not over. But, of course, we often hear that when a player's on his way out, the club says, no, he's a massive part of the squad, a massive part of the future, a massive part of our plans. What do you all feel? That's more important here. A comment here that says Ben White, more like Bin White, is what's being said here. A lot of salt being thrown towards Arsenal for this deal. A lot of salt being thrown towards Arsenal as this done deal draws ever closer. Lord Guna says, honestly, I'm not surprised. With the White deal, we made Willian our third highest paid player, despite the protest from the fans, and the club signed him anyway. Lord Guna does not appear happy with this news. I want to play a little clip for you from this morning. This is what Peter O'Rourke on our Done Deal, if you've seen the Done Deal show from this morning, go and watch it. We timestamp all the different talking points. You don't need to listen to the whole hour. You can go to specific stories. The only thing Pete was slightly inaccurate about, he felt that the bid would maybe wait until after the Euros, but it feels like Arsenal have acted a little bit sooner rather than later. And I've got a text message here actually that just says Arsenal wanted to strike before any other team got heavily involved in this deal. And that makes a lot of sense. But this is what Pete had to say this morning.
I believe Arsenal are preparing it. They're getting all the right signals from his people and from Ben White himself that Ben White really wants this move to happen, and that's all the encouragement Arsenal need. They know that the young Brighton defender is ready to come to the Emirates.
So as he said there, they're preparing the bid this morning. They know that Ben White was on his way. They put it in sooner rather than later. I have to be honest with you. I think this is a good bit of business. I know people are scoffing at £50 million. I know they're scoffing at £50 million. But he's now in the England squad. He played very well in the Premier League last year in a Graham Potter team, by the way, that everybody raves about. Everybody raves about his style of play, playing out from the back, progressive football. He's part of it. This is a player that Bielsa, that everybody rates, wants to sign. It's a player that Liverpool scouted massively and made inquiries in for last year. And I'm pretty sure he's still on their target list in some way, shape or form. This isn't some weird, obscure signing of a 28-year-old overrated journeyman player. This is a very touted, very well coveted young player. If you don't think he's good enough, please tell us why you don't think that in the comment section. I'm going to share the link for the show on the Discord server very soon, so get yourself across to that, please, ladies and gentlemen. We want to get you involved over there. Got some updates here. We've got a super chat that's come in from the signature that says, Terry, that's the funniest thing you have ever said. Mikel Arteta's revolution. I want Saliba to be given a chance. Listen, size of the revolution is what counts, but he's definitely trying his best to create a revolution and get Arsenal back where he wants. Mohammed here, thank you very much for becoming an academy member of the Football Terrace. It means a great deal to us that you have done that. A few people asking, how is this deal broken down? Is this £50 million deal? How has it been broken down, etc.? Well, in terms of what I've read about it today, it's going to be 45 million plus 5. I think Mr. Ornstein tweeted that it's pretty much been universally agreed to. 45 million pound as the flat fee with 5 million pound add-ons. It says here that face-to-face talks have taken place and negotiations continue over the add-ons. And that's normally the case at this point. It's the add-ons. It won't be the price of the add-ons. The 5 million will be fine. It's how and when they're paid. That's always the debate now. And I think you might find the Jadon Sancho deal creates a new precedent where clubs are looking for it to be based on income as opposed to club achievements. There's more of a guarantee surrounding that. But let us see what happens. But Ben White is moving ever closer. The done deal is, look, it could be minutes away. It could be a few days away, but it's definitely moving closer. There is no doubt about it. Arsenal are the front runners. Ben White wants to join. Get your views in, get your comments in, and make sure you're smashing that like button, please, ladies and gentlemen. Come on, Terry. You know he'll never be good enough because he's going to Arsenal. Vincent, I don't think Ben White is as bad as people make him out to be. I don't think he's as bad as people make him out to be. Am I saying he's going to be as good as Raphael Varane or Virgil van Dijk or John Terry or Rio Ferdinand? No. And I know that people say, oh, £50 million is a lot of money. Maguire cost 80 million. That precedent's been set. Tyrone Mings, that nobody seems to rate, cost what, 25, 30 million. Ben White's got the potential on his side. It's going to cost money. There's no doubt about it. Ben White is class, is what Nemo has to say here. Winter's Wrath says, we are run by the Trotters, is what Winter Wrath said. Doesn't seem happy there. Brand new member Mohammed says, it's a decent deal. Let's be real. He's 23. He's 23 years only. They get like 8 years out of him. Michael thinks 30% is English tax. And there could be an element of truth in that. There's no doubt about it. Let's keep going through your comments here. We're going to have my guy Egal with us a little bit later to have his say, but I will share the link now. I'm going to put it in the Discord server. I'm going to put it into the Arsenal chats. You guys to come in and have your say. That's been posted over there now. Let's get this done. I don't understand this server. They keep asking me to what does it mean on Discord when they say boost your server? What does that even mean? I don't know what that means. Should I if I boost it, what does it do? I don't get it. Should I boost the server? Let me know what that means. We've shared the link in the Arsenal chat if you want to come on and have your say, people. The Discord link is in our description below to get yourself signed up and get yourselves involved here. Let's do some more of these comments. Guna here says, I don't care who the club signs. I just want Arteta and the board to prove me wrong and do the right thing. Maybe they will. Maybe this signing will be the right one. Maybe it will. Terry, happy to report this news, isn't he? Listen, I think Ben White's a good signing. He's £50 million more than Arsenal would like to spend on him. Probably. But is he a good signing? I do think so. I do think he is a good signing. I do think he is. Terry, how do you think White was convinced to join Arsenal? Bigger team than Brighton. Gargantuan team compared to Brighton. I think it's a nice step up from the Brighton level to the higher echelons of the league. They're still considered a big six side in terms of the size of the football club, the fan base and everything else. And I've said it before, that it's at 23, it's a bit of a double-edged sword, really, for him. If it goes really well at Arsenal and they improve, then he could push them back towards Europe, which is where he wants to be. If he'll have belief in himself. You've got to remember, he will believe in his ability. If he delivers but Arsenal don't improve, then in 2 years' time, maybe he gets a move to a club that's in a better position. I think it's win-win for him. It's also going to a club where the expectation is higher. So you are challenging yourself. Lose 3 games, 4 games on the bounce at Brighton. The Brighton fans, care in the same way Arsenal fans would? No. So I think he's showing ambition to try and improve himself. I think it's a good stepping stone. And whether that's a stepping stone for him to help take Arsenal to the next level or him to move on to a club in a better position in 2 or 3 years' time, I think it's a good move for him. And I think Arsenal Football Club, they've got an opening for him. They need to improve in that area. They clearly rate him. Bielsa rates him. Klopp rates him. I was going to say Southgate rates him. That probably isn't going to make Gunas feel any better. But I think that's how it's been done, my friend. I think that's how it's been done. And thank you, by the way, Twisted, for signing up to the membership package today of Legend and Super Fan. It means a great deal to us. Thank you. Let's do some more of your comments here. Connor says, don't understand why we need to throw 50 million at a centre-back with one season in the Premier League. Other areas need addressing first, but Arsenal work in very mysterious ways. My honest opinion, Connor, on that is very much this. I think Arsenal are in a situation where your bigger targets, your Ben Whites, your Maddisons of this world, your, potentially Edouard you're looking at Celtic, you're looking at, there's a few more players out there, Awar. I think if you can, you're going to try and get these deals done early. It's difficult with some of the names I've mentioned because I don't think they're going to commit to Arsenal this early. They're going to wait to see who else comes in for them if they're indeed looking for a move. Ben White has made massive signals. He's told his England teammates, we revealed that on the Done Deal show last week, that he spoke to his teammates and he's told his teammates that he's eager to join Arsenal. He's excited to join Arsenal. He wants to join Arsenal. That kind of encouragement has clearly spurred Arsenal on. Now, I think with this being this nice little break between now and the game against Germany next Tuesday, it's put England in this, it's put maybe the England camp in a position where they say, listen, Ben, you're not part of the first team plans at England right now. You're back up to the backup, really. So maybe go away and get that deal done. Have a little bit of free time to go and get that secured. Get your move done. And Arsenal struck early. The last thing Arsenal want to do, back to your point, Connor, is leave it a week, leave it 2 weeks, leave it 3 weeks, leave it 4 weeks. And then maybe Liverpool reignite their interest. Maybe Leeds United reignite their interest and throw more money at it. Who knows? I'm putting it out there as a logical reason as to why Arsenal have signed him before what you would consider to be a priority position in your team. You don't always sign your main priority first. It doesn't always work in that way. Your main priority, maybe you've been told by the seller, we're going to wait to drum up more business before we start to talk to people about deals. So you've got to wait. Does that mean you do no business between now and then? I think it's a very sensible thing to do to secure a target as and when you can. And remember what Dean Jones has told you many times now, 3 weeks running on the Done Deal show. Arsenal have a lot more money to spend this summer than people make out. Maybe not as high as 250 million, but definitely well over 150 million pound they can spend on players. And that's initial payments. That's initial payments on players. Not to mention the fact that you're probably going to spread this 50 million pound fee over a 3 to 4 year period minimum. So in terms of initial outlay year one on transfer fee, you might be looking at about 15 to 20 million pound. It leaves you with lots more money to spend this summer. Lots more money to spend this summer. Let's do some more comments here. Mohammed, brand new member today, says, when is your next Chelsea news stream? When there's Chelsea news, really. And we try to gauge what's the most trending piece of news, what's the biggest piece of news. We try to mix it up between the clubs as best we can. If you check out, though, the Done Deal show from this morning with myself and Peter O'Rourke, a lot of Chelsea news in there. We speak about the Hakimi deal, why we feel that it didn't go through. We touch on the Haaland situation, Lukaku, Lewandowski. There is a potential there at Lewandowski as well. So go make sure you are checking that out, ladies and gentlemen. From Brighton to Arsenal, what's the difference is what Sergio Cantrao has got to say. Listen, all banter aside, there is definitely a difference. Arsenal are a step up. Arsenal are a massive step up. Terry, does Ben White have any commercial appeal? If he's progression, look, I know some of you are going to start. Good-looking lad. Young, English centre-back, England centre-back, England international playing in the Premier League. There's commerciality in there. If he starts to progress like Arsenal expect him to, if he progresses how he expects to, and finds himself regularly in that England team, of course, because there's a nation that cares. There are millions of people outside of Arsenal Football Club that care about the progression of Ben White because they care about their national team. There is money to be made in that. Of course, there's commerciality, 110%. We're going to do a couple more comments, and we've got Daquan backstage, we've got Leaf backstage, we've got Ziad backstage. If you want to come on and have your say, we've got Josh, who's a gooner that's now backstage as well. If you want to come on and give us your thoughts and feelings, I'm posting the link in the live comments section as well. Comment here says, this is very similar to when City bought Stones, similar age and price is what Alex said. I think it's about the same price. I think that was about £50 million. There's no doubt about it. Let's have a little. Terry, stop lying. It's a sideways move. I don't think it is a sideways move. I legitimately don't think that. Let's have a look at a few more of these comments coming through here. Let's look at the try and. I got my guy Ramzy going to be coming on in a second as well. Old school Ramzy in the house here. Marble Halls, one of our members, says we've had a decade of crap transfer dealings. Once bitten, twice shy. If we get CMs and White, we're moving in the right direction. That could be very, very true indeed. We're going to start going to your calls now, ladies and gentlemen, but do me a big, big favor. Smash the like button, please. Smash the living daylights out of it. Subscribe to the Football Terrace. First on the show, I'm going to go to Josh. Josh is an Arsenal fan. What you saying, mate?
Yo, what you saying, Terry, man? How you doing?
I'm very, very good indeed. What's your reaction to this? £50 million bid made. The done deal is closing in. Give me your thoughts and feelings.
You know what? I think it's good business from Arsenal. I think we did very well, obviously. Yeah. I'm not going to get too excited, too gassed. Obviously, Ben White. He still has to improve. Obviously, he's a really good player, but obviously he still has to improve. He has a long way to go before we can say he's maybe world class or one of the best. But for now, I don't know. Mate. Honestly, I shouldn't know where he'll fit in because we've got.
I do hear where you're coming from, mate. And
this year already, so I don't know where he's going to fit in. I mean, you got Saliba, you got all these defenders, so where is he going to go? That's the thing.
I get the feeling he's coming straight at £50 million. He goes straight into your first team. You don't spend £50 million on a player to sit on the bench. Not at 23 years of age, I would say. Josh, thanks for coming on, mate, and having your say, big man. I appreciate that. Thank you. Ramzy to come, KJ to come, Ziad to come, Egal to come. But we've got my guy Tade's here. How you doing, bro?
Oh, hello, hi. How you doing, man? What's good?
I'm very, very good. Ben White, £50 million bid has gone in. All the tier ones are saying this is edging closer to being a done deal. Give me your thoughts, mate.
I mean, you know what I said the last time we talked about Ben White. I felt the money was a bit too much for him. However, I mean, I was only speaking from my perspective as a fan, from my perspective as an Arsenal fan, that felt what we needed really wasn't a defender, right? But then I sat back and thought about it after that conversation we had. And we had Luis leaving the club. And I've looked at all the players we have right now in that defense. Not many of them have the ability to play out the back. Not many of them are very good in pushing the ball forward. Not many of them are very good in making those long through balls or up through balls. And I kind of went out to check this Ben White guy, because when I was talking about him, then I wasn't entirely sure. And of course, I can only work based on YouTube videos. YouTube videos sometimes could be flattering. They're only going to make a player look good. You know what I mean? And I went in, I looked at the YouTube videos, and I kind of see the reason why Arsenal might have gone for this player. I still don't understand why it's costing 50 million, but I can understand why they're going for the player. And he has a little bit of similarities with Luis, with that ability to be able to add to the attack, playing out the back. Now, in terms of the 50 million, I want him to surprise us the way Van Dijk surprised the whole world. Then maybe we Arsenal fans are going to shut up, because a lot of Arsenal fans are never going to understand why we've spent 50 million on this guy, except he really surprises us. And I'm going to hold to my guns on this one. I feel 50 million is too much. But do we need a defender? Yes, we do need a defender. Is he a good defender? I think he's a good defender based on what I've seen on YouTube. But is 50 million worth it for him? I don't know, and I don't think so. I'm going to stick to that. But listen, at the end of the day, if Arsenal wants to go out for a defender, I am more than open to getting a defender. But I still think we need to focus on the main areas which we are lacking, which is a right back position. We also need a left back that is going to back up Tierney, because when Tierney gets injured, it is obvious we don't have a substitute. We still need a defensive midfielder. We've been talking about Lokonga. We've been talking about Ruben Neves. We don't know who is coming yet. We still need an attacking midfielder. We've been talking about Odegaard. Odegaard seems he's not going to be coming again because Ancelotti wants him. I think we still need a striker as well. I know that's shocking. So 5-6 areas, we need players.
You certainly do. You certainly do need players. There is no doubt about it. And I think the kind of profile of a lot of the profile of players that Arsenal seem to be looking at this summer are young and up and coming. There's a few when they've inquired about Mahrez, they've inquired about Raheem Sterling that are established stars, but a lot of the others are kind of 23, 24 and younger. They've got great potential to improve themselves, but equally there's a little bit of sell-on value in them as well. And you know what? I think that's almost an insurance policy for if Ben White turns out to be brilliant, but Arsenal don't progress and a Man City or a Real Madrid comes in and says, we fancy a bit of that. You've got the ability to make some money on them. I think Ben White is a much better, you've got to think about this as an example. If you're going to drop 50 million pounds on invest 50 million pounds into a player, I think Ben White, how many years did you give Willian on his deal? Was it 2 or 3? We
gave him 2.
So it was a 2-year deal. So over 2 years, that's 30. He's looking at his salary. You've given Willian a 31 million pound investment. There's no sell-on value. He's well past his best. For me, I look at it and think with Ben White's salary probably being somewhere in the region of about 6 to 7 million a year, 50 million pound fee, which will be paid over a 3 to 4 year period. He's almost costing you per year similar to that of what Willian was. And I think that's a much better use of your money than dropping ridiculously high wages on over-the-hill 29, 30-plus-year-old players that you seem to have done a fair bit of in recent years. I think he's more talented than people are giving him credit. I think maybe if his name was Ben Genio, people would be a little bit more encouraged. I don't think he's as bad as people are making out. I do understand it's a lot of money, but the precedent for centre-backs was set. It was set 2 years ago now when Manchester United dropped £80 million on Harry Maguire. In fact, it was set when Villa spent 25, nearly 30 million on a championship defender in Tyrone Mings. I don't these things.
Actually, I think this whole thing started with Luis, to be honest, going back to Chelsea days from PSG. I think that's when this whole thing started, with the amount of money being spent on defenders. I think it was the richest defender. It was the most expensive defender at the point when we got him and when Chelsea got him. Talking about Luis now. That's when this whole spending of money thing on defenders started. And then Van Dijk kind of, went off this world. And then you talking about the likes of, Maguire and everything coming in. All I'm trying to say is we want Ben White to surprise us. I hear what you're saying about the money being split over years and everything. And, if you look at it from that perspective, it's kind of economical when you split it across. But then again, except Arsenal are telling me they really have that 150 million to spend, then I wouldn't have a problem with that. But they shouldn't come and tell me now tomorrow that they don't have money when they spend 50 million on Ben White. I'm not going to take that. Because the main place is seriously, bro, the main place is where we need players. They haven't addressed it yet, which is the attack. Truth be told, last season we had the third best defense in the Premier League last season, right? Going by the number of goals conceded, which was the best defensive record of Arsenal in the last 5 years. So kudos to Arteta and the defense for that. The question now is, where do we really need players? Is it in the defense? Is it in the midfield? Is it in the attack? And for me, I think the midfield and attack are the most pressing areas. Granted, it is very difficult to do these deals because of the Euros going on. A lot of people get these deals over the line after the Euros. I understand that. All I am saying is, from a fan's perspective, we want Ben White to surprise us. And if he doesn't, we're going to be going back again and saying Kroenke out, Arteta out. That's what's going to happen. And one more thing before I go. I know people are talking about Saliba and, Saliba is coming back, he's doing this, he's doing that. It's very obvious that Saliba doesn't really seem to be in the plans of Arteta. Or perhaps Arteta wants him to prove himself. That's the reason why he sent him out on loan. people are saying he was one of the best young defenders in the French league. I get that. The same Pepe that was the second highest goal scorer after Mbappe came into the Premier League, and we could see he couldn't perform. So people should be careful about just, ruling out a manager because he's not playing a player that you want to see, or you want a player to be given a chance. I get all that. All I'm trying to say is be careful what you wish for in that context. That's all I'm trying to say.
Tade, listen, mate, great call, great points being raised as ever. Top man. We'll speak to you again soon, my brother. Thanks you very much indeed. Make sure that like button is being hit if you're just tuning in, and subscribing to the Football Terrace. Ewan here says some Arsenal fans really do my head in. Ben White compared to other deals we are trying to do is easy, hence why it's getting done. It's easy compared to other deals. That's why it's being done early. Completely agree with you. There is this notion on football Twitter that you shouldn't sign. I hear it all the time from all fan bases. This isn't exclusive to Arsenal, but I think our priority is midfield. So why are we signing a centre-back first? Unless I don't know if you've ever done B2B sales before in the commercial world, when it's one business selling to another business, which is essentially what transfers are. You might have the big deal you're going on. That could take in my world, it could take a year to negotiate that deal. Does that mean I don't do any other smaller deals in the meantime? Of course, you have to do it. And smaller by priority as opposed to monetary value. Ewan's back again here, says we obviously have other targets in midfield and attack. In attack, which I can't work out that word is what that word's meant to be. We need to go for, and I believe Arsenal will go for them. People just need to calm down, is what Ewan says there. I completely and utterly agree with you. If you are just tuning in to the Football Terrace this afternoon for this special edition of the Done Deal Show, Arsenal earlier than expected, but as Pete O'Rourke on our show this morning revealed, they were putting together a £50 million bid. Ben White wants to join Arsenal. He's told his England teammates and people close to him he believes it will happen, and that is where we want to be. Arsenal have now submitted 40 million plus 5 in a mega deal, a £50 million deal to bring England and Brighton centre-back Ben White to the Emirates Stadium next season. We want your thoughts. We want your feelings. Make sure that like button is being hit. KJ to come, Egal to come, Ziad to come. But first, though, my guy, Arsenal, big Arsenal fan, Ramzy's back in the house. What you saying, bro? You're on mute, brother.
Oh, sorry, bro. You good? You good?
Yeah, I'm very, very good. I mean, what's your reaction to this news? Big money being spent on this player. Ben White, give me your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, listen, first of all, when I first saw it, the first rumours about Ben White, I was probably like a lot of Arsenal fans thinking, where has this come from? Why is this happening? Where is this going? But like, since we made the first bid or first sort of interest, I sort of took a little bit of a deeper look into it with Ben White, and I think it's, even though, and what your last caller was saying was actually right in terms of our defense being third best in the division, maybe sort of fifth best in terms of like XG and all that sort of stats. So we one of the best defenses. I actually think this move is done to enhance our attack in a weird sense. Ben White, obviously, playing at Brighton, played sort of most of his time in the back three as a right-sided centre-back. Played 20% of his games for Brighton in defensive midfield and at right-back. So he's obviously comfortable on the ball. He's obviously someone who can comfortable, and he's someone who progresses attacks. And the problem I feel Arsenal had last season, especially against teams outside of the sort of big six, was that we did not know how to progress and move from defense into attack, which is why our goals scored was so poor. We didn't know how to just progress that ball on, especially when David Luiz got injured. Rob Holding wasn't comfortable at doing that, and it just felt like we were just in a period of not knowing how to create from anywhere else, which isn't sort of wide areas. So I just feel like, I still feel like it's a lot of money, and whether it will be worth it will be sort of time will tell. But I actually do feel like this could be a signing which could enhance our team going forward. Maybe that's just an Arsenal fan being hoping for good to come of it. But there's just a feeling that I feel like it actually could be a good deal for us in the long run. And as you said, 23-year-old, £50 million on maybe a 4 or 5 year deal can easily come come to be good. But it was all dependent on how we progress within the rest of the transfer window. If it's just a Ben White as our main transfer dealing, it's not really good enough. But if it's part of a strategy with Arteta and Edu to bring more players in of that ilk, then it could be a good signing. I don't think it's panic stations at all.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that people need to relax a little bit. When Liverpool were linked with him last summer, I didn't hear anybody flapping or going crazy about it and everything else. I think I just think it's a good bit of business. I actually think he's going to be better than every other centre back you've already got at the club. The William Saliba thing, look, I know people don't like doing it, but I think I just get this little feeling inside that Mikel Arteta is not a fan for whatever reason. It's just, I know that there'll be reports from very close journalists of the club that will say, no, that's not the case. But listen, Jesse Lingard got loaned out last year, and all we've heard from the Man United camp is, we're only doing it because we want to make him part of the squad next year. No one really believes that, if that makes sense. And
yeah,
I think that Ben White, he had a very good season in the Prem last year. He's got himself into this England squad. Every time I've seen him play, he looks good and comfortable. I think he needs to level up now. I think he needs to move to a bigger team that are better. You are better than Brighton. And I know that it wasn't the greatest league campaign ever last year, but if you look at the second half of your season when things settled, when a few of the maybe a few of the troublemakers weren't there anymore, or the people that were involved in that, when some of the youngsters came through and had that sort of youthful exuberance, the Smith Rowes and the Sakas, Arsenal certainly improved. And I think signings like Ben White's, signings like Lokonga's, signings like Basuma's or Ruben Neves's, I think will raise Arsenal's levels next year. There's no doubt about it. So I agree with you, mate. I think it's a good piece of business. You're definitely looking at other deals. You've got a fair amount of money to spend this summer. And I just think Arsenal fans should be excited by the fact that you're signing one of the best young up-and-coming centre-backs in the Premier League. That's how I'm viewing this as a rival looking at it. I think it's a really good piece of business.
Yeah, and I think with Saliba, I think all Arsenal fans would love to see him do well and get an opportunity in the first team. The one thing, obviously, he was bought in the Emery era, the end of the Emery era, so you don't really know whether he's someone that Arteta wants to trust in his system. And the other thing is, I've not seen much of him. I don't know who has. If people have been watching the French League last year, he looks like from what I've seen, looks like a good defender. But I don't know how good he is on the ball. And I think that could be the reason why he may be not starting or not getting the games at Arsenal, because you have to think maybe against the bigger sides we were not going to have possession, but against the lesser sides in the league, even though we're sort of in a decline at the moment, we're still going to get a lot of the ball. We're still going to have our centre backs probably have the ball more than anyone else on the field, the amount of time that we get on the ball at the back. So, maybe that's the reason. Maybe that's the reason that Arteta doesn't say, Saliba, I don't know how good you are to progress this team on the ball. But personally, if it was me, I'd love to see Saliba as the backup for Ben White in Arsenal's system, as the next one to sort of come through alongside him or after him. But yeah, maybe this isn't one for him, unfortunately, and it's hard. But listen, if Ben White turns out to be very good, and you miss out on a Saliba, and alongside Gabriel, who I think can actually benefit Ben White in terms of aerial threat, is maybe not his best attribute, but Gabriel maybe complements that a bit. So if that partnership can build, and you miss out on a Saliba, but your defense is better anyway, then it's like, sometimes has to be done. Sometimes you've got to do it. And maybe we can even make money on Saliba. How many times have we talked about Arsenal buying players and getting rid of them on cheap? Maybe this is an opportunity to make some money on him.
Maybe, mate. Listen, Ramzy, great call, mate. Great points as ever, mate. And we'll speak to you again soon. Top man. Brother. Thank you very much indeed. Man, like Ramon back on the terrace. Ali says here, let Arsenal take him so United can focus on Raphael Varane. But there lies the issue from a mental standpoint. Man United or Chelsea or Man City, they're all looking at Raphael Varane. They might be able to pick him up for somewhere in the region of £40 million. And well, why are you spending 50 on Ben White if Varane's available for that amount of money? But it's an unattainable deal for Arsenal. Varane isn't moving to a team not in the Champions League. Varane has 1 year left on his deal. And Real Madrid's situation is they're at the moment, what they're stating is they're quite desperate to get rid of him to free up wages so they can invest money elsewhere. So you look at those 3 points that completely change the scenario. Ben White isn't at a club that are desperate for money. He's got a fair amount of time left, 3 or 4 years left on his current deal, and he has resale value. Those three things in themselves make him more expensive. They don't make him a better player, but they make him as his transfer card for that reason becomes a more valuable commodity based on those reasons. So again, it's one of those things, and I know it's like a broken record, but listen to the Kieran Maguires, listen to the Dr. Robs, the chief football financial experts in the world who are consulted by, these gentlemen were consulted by UEFA when they do financial investigations into team. They are that respected in the industry. They've explained this on the Terrace and multiple other platforms many, 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 many times. Don't just focus on player A's worth A, but player B was sold for B. Therefore, our player's overrated or underrated. There are always circumstances and scenarios relating to these signings that change not the market value of a player, but the sale price. A market price and a sale price can be two completely different things in every single industry when it comes to B2B sales. Anyone who's new to tuning in, make sure you're hitting that like button. Man like South London's Finest says 101.5k watching this. Get the like. It'd be nice to get this up to 1,000 likes. It'd be amazing to get this video on YouTube onto 1,000 likes. You know what to do, people. We've still got KJ to come, Ziad to come, many, many more callers to get on the show, but we've got a gal with us now, one of the biggest Arsenal fans across social media. His platform's growing massively. Proud of the guy. Ben White to Arsenal. You're closing in on a done deal here, Egal. Give me your thoughts, mate.
We're ticking off one need. One of the areas that we've been trying to address for a long time. We can just tick it off the box. We have also signed an English homegrown player. We've signed a player who is Premier League proven, comes into our team, right? And we already know what he can offer to a certain degree because he's already played in the league. Everything that us fans have been asking for, Terry. We've been saying, you know what? Get your money out, get your pocket out, go buy us what we need. We need a center back. We need a right side center back. We have Saliba, but doesn't mean Saliba's leaving. People, calm down. Just because we're buying Ben White does not mean Saliba's leaving. This is a good signing in the sense that in the long term and in the short term, we have now built from the defense forward. We've gotten 2 left-sided defenders in Gabriel and Pablo Mari. We now have 2 right-sided defenders in Rob Holding and what do you call it? And Ben White. And we also have Saliba as depth. At this point, center back position for Arsenal should be sorted out for the next 4 to 5 years, at least minimum. Now we can go and focus on the rest of the thing. Get me James Maddison. Get me an attacking midfielder. Get me a defensive midfielder or a box-to-box midfielder in Basuma. Get me a right back once Bellerin leaves. Get me a backup left back because Kieran Tierney cannot do it by himself. And get me a goalkeeper because Leno's going to be leaving very soon. But right now, this is step 1 to that puzzle that I was talking about. Right now, what we've done the corner, we're doing the other corner, and now we need to just fill in the middle. That's what it is. And Ben White is just step 1 to what we got going this summer. If we're spending 50 million on a center back when people didn't even think we were going to buy a center back this year, I'm starting to believe that war chest that they're talking about.
Sorry, I my thing muted there for feedback. Yeah, listen, war chest. Yes, there's a lot of money to spend. There's more money than people expect Arsenal to spend this summer. Of course, with the sale of players, the amount of money you can spend increases. But Arsenal Football Club need to. The Cronkies need to stop all this. Some people are never going to trust them, but they need to try and appease the fans after the Super League debacle and after everything else that went on there with the takeovers and protests first and foremost. But they also know as a football club, they need to improve. Now, the one thing about these businessmen, which is true, they're not stupid. For them to keep growing the asset, they do need Arsenal to maintain a certain status within the game. European football as a bare minimum. Champions League would be brilliant because sponsors pay more to have their logos made internationally as opposed to international tournaments up against the biggest teams in Europe. So you need to aim for that as well because income will decrease steadily over a period of time if you continue to decline. Less people go to games, less people buy merchandise, sponsors pay you less, especially as the less you win or the less favorable you are. Certain brands don't want to be associated with what could be looked at from the outside in as failure. And we know this is true. So the Cronkies do need to spend to try and improve you. I think the model they're looking to go for is just buy some really exciting young up and coming players. I think Mikel Arteta would prefer that than bringing in some 29-year-old, slightly over the hill, ex-superstar on huge amounts of money. I think it's worked better for him. The majority of players that have performed for him have been of the Ben White ilk, although they've predominantly come through your academy. I think it's a good signing. Let me ask you a question. A lot of Arsenal fans seem angry about spending £50 million on him. A lot are saying he's average, he's not good enough, etc. How well do you rate Ben White, and how do you think he personally will improve Arsenal as a team?
Listen, I feel like you have to add context to what people are saying. I don't think they're saying he's not good enough. I think they're just saying we have other necessary needs, which I've even said myself. The story has not been written on what Ben White's going to do when he comes to a club. We don't know what he's going to do. Everyone can be different in their different surroundings. But one thing I will tell you is, if the going rate for a right back, English right back, is 50 million, with what Manchester United paid for Aaron Wan-Bissaka, and if the going rate for English centre back was 80 million at the high end for Harry Maguire, paying 50 million for Ben White at this point is still untold how good he's going to be. If he gives us the levels that John Stone gave us this season and the levels Harry Maguire gave you his first season, stuff like that, then 50 million might even become a steal, because we have a lot of areas to address. If we address those areas and we don't neglect the right back situation, we don't neglect the center midfield situation, and we say, oh, we can get it next window because we got a center back, that's where things go wrong. And that's where you say the 50 million was a mistake. The only way it can be a mistake is if we don't address the other necessary needs and we still have a gaping hole in our midfield and our right back area. That's the only way you can criticize the fee. The player, the stories hasn't been written. Right now, it's public opinion is going both ways. I personally think he's a good player. I just never seen the club addressing the center back situation before they address the other issues. And right now, Terry, forget about how much money and the credibility of the club. We need to worry about when that Thierry Henry, Dennis Bergkamp, and Patrick Vieira era is going to start rubbing off, because that's still holding us clout in the game. That era till today, those kids are still growing up and still playing football. Once they're done, and it's the new generation, they're not going to be thinking about Manchester United or Arsenal. They're going to be thinking about Chelsea and Man City. That's what we got to be worried about. Because if our era of players who've witnessed the greatest Arsenal teams are no longer playing in the game, and we don't get back to that, it could be a whole 2 generations that don't get to see us performing well. Because I already know 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds have never seen us win a major league title. Imagine if we go for another 15 years. That would be shambolic.
This is the approach. This is the approach you're going for, because you're trying to get back. You're trying to get yourselves back to the top of the tree. That's got to be the aim. There's no doubt about it whatsoever. Egal, listen, mate. Great views, great opinions. Appreciate you coming on, having your say, mate. Top man. And we'll see you at 9 o'clock tonight. Top man. Thank you.
100%.
Thank you. So we've got a really good show tonight at 9 o'clock, people. We're going to be do you know what? I'm going to share the link now, actually. So there's a fan vote going on with our partners at Give Me Sport. So, and what this is all about is very much voting for the best player so far in terms of the group stages of the Euros. That's where we are, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, sorry. At the Euros. So I want to put this up on the screen so you can all see this for a moment here. I want to put this up. I'm going to share the link in the comment section in a few moments. So you guys can all go and have a vote. This is where it's at. It's on the fan awards here. So you can vote. We haven't voted yet. We're doing it tonight. This is what the show at 9 o'clock is going to be about tonight. So the 6 nominees are Locatelli, Lukaku, De Jong, Forsberg, Ronaldo, 6. So you'll be able to come on. We're going to be debating who we think should win it. We'll share the link now so you can all start voting for that. You can go along and have a vote. I know our legends and super fan members have already voted because we put it into the private WhatsApp group that they're part of earlier on today. So I've spammed that a little bit into the comment section. So go and have a vote and go and have your say. They're the 6 are up for it in relation to that. We're going to do some more calls in a few moments as well. We want to hear from as many of you as possible. But Mark here with the super chat says, not mad at Ben White purchase as long as we are looking to sign 2 midfielders, a proper right back and a backup left back, maybe a goalkeeper and striker if we sell one. That's what's being said there by Mark. I'm going to go now. Gal's going to be, not Gal, Gal's been on. KJ's coming up very soon. Before him, we're going to get Liverpool fan Tom Little on. This is going to be an interesting perspective because an interesting perspective because Liverpool were heavily linked with him last year, and Liverpool fans seem like they really wanted him, or the ones I spoke to anyway. But Tom Little's here. What are you saying, bro?
He's a good player. I think I did want Ben White last year. I will be honest. You know, I thought he was a very good player. He did really well at Leeds in their promotion season. He did decent last year, but it's going to be tough to break into that Brighton team. But he did well when he played. And I do feel that it's a bit expensive. But you've got to pay that nowadays for these type of players. That's how the market is. The thing that has surprised me is I didn't think Arsenal needed a centre-back. Like, it went high on the priority list. As an outside looking in, I think Arsenal needed a right-back and a central midfielder to partner Thomas Partey. A lot more than they need a centre-back at the minute. So, he's a great signing, and maybe Mikel Arteta's got different plans for him than at centre-back. Who knows? I know he used to play DM at Leeds at times, so maybe that's who he wants to partner with Thomas Partey. Who knows? But, you know, it's a decent signing, and I would have been more gusted if we hadn't got Konate, because I did actually really want him last year.
Yeah, look, I understand where you're coming from. And do you know when it comes to prices of players, do you know what's interesting? If Ben White has a very good season, so if he performs even to the level that Gabriel performed in the first 2/3 of the campaign, there isn't going to be an Arsenal, Spurs, Chelsea, United, Liverpool fan mentioning this price tag. They're simply not. It's also going to be paid in installments. So if we break it down like everybody gushed over Thiago last year, which by the way was brilliant at 20 million over a 5-year period. This is going to be costing, if they spread it over a 4-year period, you're still not looking at too much of an outlay up front. What are we looking at over 4? You're looking at £12.5 million per year. So if someone says that you can sign one of the best up and coming centre backs in the Premier League for 12 million quid a season, you do it, wouldn't you? It's not that big an outlay up front. So I think Arsenal were in a really good bit of business there. But as you say, no one ever quite knows how good these players are until they're performing and they're at a team that's at that next level up from where they play. And listen, you know, Kabak was a player that Liverpool were after for a long time, and he came in and, you know, in the end, you started playing the likes of Nate Phillips, stepped up and actually improved beyond. Did better than Kabak for me in the end. Like you had a man like Sonny on here saying he should have been in the England squad and one of the players of the season. So you never quite know how good or bad somebody's going to be. But Arsenal seem really convinced on him. They're putting a lot of money towards it, and it is a player, as you say, that Liverpool were touting and looking at. Bielsa wanted, and these are clubs and managers that the majority of Arsenal fans you speak to rate and think are great. So there is definitely ability in there, which I think they can pull on in relation to that. To your other point about the players needing other positions, where do you think the main two priorities are for Arsenal?
I think they're all right in most other positions, but I don't know what it's like, but I think Xhaka is still going to Roma. So if he goes, you definitely need another midfielder to partner Thomas Partey. I still think you need that anyway to really get the best out of him, because the immobile Granit Xhaka means that he can't show the best of him because he's too busy trying to hold his hand through the whole way. And I think you need the right back. Hector Bellerin used to be very good, but he got that unfortunate knee injury and he just hasn't really been the same since. And I think he's a decent backup, but if the likes of PSG come in for a bid, I don't think you can turn down that money, especially when there's better options out there.
I hear you on that. Listen, Tom, great call as ever, mate. Thanks for coming on and having your say. Speak to you soon. Top man, Tom. Thank you very much indeed. KJ's with us now on the terrace. Make sure that like button has been smashed. We're getting close to 500 likes while we're live on the air, which is absolutely amazing. KJ's here next. What you saying, bro?
Yo, this signing, of Ben White, I believe, is Arsenal showing that they actually believe in Arteta, and he's actually the guy they're going to take going forward, because I feel like the new angle they're going forward with these younger players, more established players in the Premier League, is going to suit Arteta more than stars. I feel like due to the success of Saka and Emile Smith-Rowe, they are the young players of the team, and you can tell that Arteta has probably influenced them more than the Bellerins, the David Luiz when he was there, the older players who have been there, done it with whatever team. They probably see Arteta as a manager that's like, why would I actually do what he actually wants me to do when I've been under X manager and performed? So I feel like Arsenal are legit going, right, Arteta's the guy. Let's build him a squad that he can have his imprint on, that won't really challenge what he's saying or won't really go against him because he's giving them the opportunity at Arsenal. And then go forward from there. Is it the right move to make? I don't know, but I'm more, as a rival fan looking in, I can see them actually doing something more now than if they were to sign Jerome Boateng on a free or sign Coutinho or stuff like that. Like, for me, this is more a worrying sight as a rival than it is these old big players coming in.
You know what? Like, I think you're onto a point there. And look, Arsenal we've said for a while, they need to readjust, where their head's at as a football club. And I think this is the right methodology to get themselves back to where they almost need to be. And there's also a comment here from Carmike, who says, stop focusing on Saliba and White. Chambers and Holding are not good enough, in my opinion. So if they are upgrading, what's the problem? And this is also the point, again, that needs to be focused on. I have a belief that I don't think Arteta rates Saliba. That's my belief. However, if I'm wrong about that, which I can be because I'm a fan giving a fan opinion, he's absolutely right. Why are Arsenal fans worried about having better centre-backs than they already have? I understand the need to focus on other players, but we don't need to go over old ground again. You don't necessarily sign your main priority first. That's not how the transfer window invariably it never plays out that way. It tends to be you sign what you can first and you build up towards you. Most big signings are late in the window. That's historically how it's always been. Anyway, so it's a case of, let's just say it's Chambers and Holding that move out, and it's White, Saliba, and Gabriel as your main three centre backs. What a plethora of young up and coming talent that you can build a defense around for the next 3 or 4 years. It gives you an option to play three at the back at times. It gives you cover in periods. And, as Ben White's a little bit versatile in that respect as well, if you need him to go into other positions at times. So I don't look at this as a negative, and I get they focus on the price. And I think where that main bit of negativity is coming from is, but what if we don't have money to sign the two central midfielders or the striker now? But I trust what Dean tells me. I trust what multiple other journalists have said. I've seen The Athletic write about this as well. Arsenal have a lot more money this summer than people are quoting and speaking about. But of course, Arsenal are going to keep that on the down low, because what happened the last time? What happened to a major club the last time they said they could do amazing things in a transfer market?
Screw Woodward.
and mate, and I bring that up as a point because I've heard a few Arsenal fans on this stream say it. I've seen a lot of comments say it around, why do we act like we're you should act like you're broke. In any business negotiation, you want to act like you don't have a penny, because then you drive the price. No one wants to spend money if you can. So why imagine Arsenal like, listen, we can buy whoever we want. We've got loads of money. Everyone's going to add an extra 10, 20, 30% onto deals. So stop being naive to how B2B sales work. We have another super chat here. It says, KJ, you are Arteta 2.0, wants to play false nine in the most important game of the season. I think Donny would be perfect.
Xhaka, I think, is trying to say.
I think it'd be Xhaka replacement, but highly unlikely. I mean, I'll let you address that, bruv. It was addressed to you.
Yeah, fam. I probably would make false nine work, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm probably a better coach than Arteta. Hey, I want to do what I want to do. I'm not Southgate ain't gonna do it, so don't worry about what I want, fam. You know what I'm saying? Also, Donny to Arsenal is never gonna happen. So it like you said, it would be the perfect dream, but it ain't happening, my brother.
Yeah, it definitely isn't happening. And I know there's a lot of rumors yesterday about Donny van der Beek leaving, which it's just not happening. It just isn't happening this summer unless somebody makes a stupid offer. But equally, Donny isn't going to go to Arsenal. Like, he's not going to. I think he'd rather go back to Ajax. Do you know what I mean? And do bits and pieces there. Let's do some more comments that are coming through. We've still got some more calls to take later on in the show. So do stay backstage. If you want to come on and have your say, I'm posting the link in the comments section again for you. I'm going to post a poll. We up to maximum viewers. We haven't posted any polls in today's show. How I want to word this in the right way. Is Ben White a quality signing Helps if I spell word right. Is Ben White a quality signing for Arsenal FC? It's a yes or no one. Is Ben White a quality signing? Is it a signing that's going to improve their team? I've posted that poll. It's in the live comment section. If you can't see it, just refresh your stream right now or go out of the app and come back into the app and get that done. I know a lot of people have signed up recently to becoming members. There are custom emojis. These will be getting updated very, very soon on the Football Terrace. If you haven't seen our custom emojis before, I'm going to post them for you now when this thing actually loads, right? I'm going to post some Arsenal. We've got the Arsenal badge that you can post as a comment there. We've got the Mikel Arteta one. We've got various Football Terrace related badges. There's Chelsea if you're a Chelsea fan. We've got Liverpool badges. The Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. I like the Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang one here. I'm going to post as well. You can use these and get access to these from as little as 99p per month to become an official member of the Football Terrace. There's loads of them there. There's a Paul Pogba one with his ear cupped. We've got an Aaron Wan-Bissaka or Aaron Wan-Bissaka. What was it called him? Spider-Wan one there. But we are going to be updating the emojis for the new season. The new season emojis are looking amazing already. So they'll be launched very, very soon for you members to use during streams. We've got Gunner King. We've got Amin to come on and have his say with us as well. We're going to keep KJ here with us. We're going to bring some more callers into this stream. I don't know why I just clicked on that button. We'll do this. We'll do a bit of that. And we're going to go to Gunner King next to have his say with us. Gunner King, welcome back to the Terrace, mate. £50 million bid made for Ben White. Give me your thoughts and your feelings on that, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a bit of mixed feelings, really. I think seeing the ambition being met in terms of going into the market and being relatively aggressive for the player that we want, that's encouraging. He does have quality. I watched him play a lot in the Championship with Leeds as well on the come up. In addition to Brighton, and a host of clubs were in for him at the beginning of last season as well, off of the strength of that. My concern isn't with the player, it's with the area of the pitch that so much effort is going to spend that money on. I really do feel like a recognised right back and a CDM are bigger priorities for us. So, yeah, my concern is that we might turn around and then look at tier lower targets based on what we're spending on this one.
Potentially, I do get that. So is that on our gauge is right to understand where Arsenal fans are coming from? If you had faith that you still had the money for the two centre backs, for the attacking midfielder, for the right back, you wouldn't be concerned about spending 50 mil first on Ben White. Is that where that's coming from?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And you know, obviously the signs that are coming out from the club are saying that we do have those funds. And I guess I'm kind of going off of previous windows where a lot has been promised and not delivered. I go back to the Pepe window when I think then we needed a centre back, and we saw the bright lights and signed Pepe. I like Pepe, by the way. I'm not trying to slander him in any way, but then we went and got David Luiz because we realised that we had forgotten we needed a centre back, and we only spent 9 million on him. And you know, I think that's what we could have the potential here for, which is my concern. But if they were to go out and strengthen adequately in all of those other areas, then sure, why not?
And KJ, do you understand that train of thought from Gooners, that they're just more concerned about not having additional money to spend as opposed to being against Ben White per se?
No, I completely understand. It's all down to the trust of their board is completely gone. It's a very similar situation of Man United, and there's quite a few United fans actually worried about the Jadon Sancho deal and feeling like that's all we're gonna get and that's it. The transfer window is finished for us, just because we spent all that money on one player. So I completely understand where Arsenal fans are coming from. I just think just wait a bit to see what they do, because I do feel like Arsenal are going to have a good window. They are going to address some key areas and probably find some really good gems in the window. Once you sell players like Bellerin, your Xhakas, maybe Lacazette, maybe Leno, you should have more funds to go and get more players. So give it some time and then start cussing them. for the transfer window. Obviously, custom all the time because they're the Kronkers and the Pagans. But in terms of the transfer window, just wait to see what your Edus and your Artetas and your scouts actually pick up, because I feel like you guys might actually do something very, very good this window.
Yeah.
So go on, mate. Go on, mate.
Yeah, no. I definitely feel more encouraged in how we're entering the window relative to previous seasons. And yeah, I do think we are going to have a fairly positive window overall. Yeah, I think the other thing that I wanted to mention about Ben White, and again, it's not so much against him. I think we've got a lot of young up-and-coming defenders. I think Mari's our oldest, and he's going to be 27. I always find with centre-backs, you need someone in there with experience, like gravitas, which only years can really give them. You look at Maguire at United, you know, he shores up the other defenders around him in addition to being a good defender. And that's something that only a more experienced defender can give to less experienced defenders. So I'd say that's my other concern. But I mean, judging him on his individual abilities and merits as a player, I think is a good signing.
Yeah, I agree. I just think, do you know what it is for me? Because I don't have fears that it will fail for Arsenal because I'm not an Arsenal fan. I'm taking a lot of what I'm hearing as read, as in there's money to be spent, and I don't have the same disposition as many gooners, and because it doesn't matter to me if it doesn't go right, if that makes sense. I totally get the skepticism and the concern and everything else surrounding it, but I think it's a good start, and I think, as Gal said, it's a tick off the box. And you know, you are looking at Basuma, you are looking at Neves. The Lokonga deal was always going to probably take the majority of this week before it was announced, due to the fact he's on holiday for 10 days, and there's just no need to rush it, because they're very much like the Ben White deal. The player really wants to join Arsenal, so it gives you that advantage to not push it through. The majority of the other targets that Arsenal were looking at are either slightly out of reach, waiting for what other clubs are going to offer, or are currently like got integral roles at the Euros. So I sort of feel like just over the next couple of weeks, I think more will start to come clear around who Arsenal can sign, who's genuinely interested in playing for Arsenal, as opposed to maybe using them as a bit of a make weight to get a better deal elsewhere. But Gunnar King, great to talk to you again as ever, mate. Really good points being raised there. Top man. Thank you. Let's do some of these comments coming in here. A few people were saying KJ was spot on. Stephen says, White was obviously our first choice defender to replace Luis. Young, English, fast, aggressive. I'm happy with the signing. Madison Lokonga next is what Stephen says. A comment here says Ornstein's reported it, so it's not happening. Is that someone that I thought Ornstein was the guy?
It's happening. No, he said it's happening.
Oh, it's happening. Sorry, my dyslexic brain kicked in. I read a word that wasn't there. That's what it does. If you ever want to, if someone goes, what's it like being dyslexic? I read the word not in that. It's not even there. It's not even there. Honestly, being dyslexic is like, I feel like that kid from The Sixth Sense. Like, I see words that don't exist. I see dead people, but word form. I see. That's how it is. I just saw a ghost, basically. There we go. Ornstein said it, so it's happening. Absolutely. Make sure you're hitting that like button. Thank you, South London's finest, for encouraging people to support the Terrace in that way. Terry, does Arsenal have the luxury of time to plan for the future?
Yes, because that's all they've got. Legit, that's all they've got. They have to plan for the future because the now is peak. You know what I'm saying? You are, as Arsenal and Arsenal fans, you want to be challenging now and winning titles now and Champions League now, but that's just not the reality. So it's not really the luxury of time to plan for the future. It's more of it's the time to plan for the future. They need to take this time now.
Absolutely. And just as some breaking news that's just come through now as well, again from David Ornstein. I'm not going to pronounce the first name, or Konstantinos Mavropanos has joined Stuttgart from Arsenal. A deal worth up to £5 million. Do you know what? I said this morning, actually, when I was talking to Pete on the show, that maybe Arsenal were waiting for a sale or two to go through before they made the official bid. In the same way that I felt Man United waited for that Lukaku deal to happen. Sorry, for the Hakimi deal to be more or less done because of the £40 million they were owed in that from the Lukaku deal, which they're now going to be paid to secure creditors. I think Arsenal, now that they've got this Mavropanos deal sealed, that's the extra £5 million and the salary guaranteed to be removed from their books. So they put their second submitted bid in. So that deal, when you see it now, it makes a lot of sense that Arsenal put that bid in today. A lot of journalists thought it might be another week or two until that deal was done. But a good move from Mavropanos. He moves on, £5 million, 1 year loan deal. Then a 3 year deal after that. So it's going to be a one year loan deal at £500,000 and then a £5 million compulsory purchase at the end of it. All salary to be paid in the year-long loan by Stuttgart, plus a sell-on clause. No one quite knows the percentage. That's typically around 20 to 30% sell-on clause to Arsenal as well. So some very good business being done today by Arsenal Football Club. Let's go to another caller here to chat to myself and man like KJ, who we're going to go to here. Let's go to Dequan. He's been waiting a long while. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. How are you, KJ and Terry?
I'm good, mate.
Yeah, when you come on here, you always...
No.
Oh,
that's my brother, guys.
Okay, I was when you come on here, it's always Terry first, please. Okay.
oh my God.
Joking. KJ's name before me. My word. I'm only messing, bro. What do you make of the Ben White deal? Give me your thoughts, mate.
I actually think this is gonna be a quality deal. Just thinking about it, he was on loan at Newport County in League 2, so he's been there. He's done League 2. He's been with Peterborough in League 1. He's been there and done it. Leeds, I've heard of Ben White. He done his thing there. He had his Premier League season with Brighton, and yeah, he was very good. I think he's a very good player. For me, I think he has the potential to get better. If he wants to challenge himself, go into a team like Arsenal, I'm here for it. 50 million. It's not going to be, I don't think it's going to be 50 million straight up. I think it's going to be like 12.5 million over 4 years or something like that in installments, like with the Pepe deal. So yeah, at least Arsenal are getting one position sorted because we do need like a David Luiz replacement. And I feel like Ben White, he's an excellent ball playing defender for me. And I feel like he can even be in a central midfielder as well.
He might very well do. Listen, Daquan's very excited about that. Thank you very much for coming on, and your brother for his impromptu appearance on the terrace as well. It made me laugh. It was very, very funny. We're going to go to another caller here. We're going to go to Amin. Amin's another Arsenal fan in the house. Give us your thoughts, Amin. Ben White to Arsenal.
It's tragic, Terry. It's tragic. It's tragic. I don't know how we went to Brighton and bidded for Ben White than we did for Bissouma. It's tragic. And I know people are going to... That's 50% of our transfer budget gone, yeah? And I know people are going to say to me, oh, well, there's more money in the bank. That's crap. Every year it's the same stuff, yeah? Unless Kroenke takes a picture of the 250 rumored million with himself in the bank, I'm not believing that. It's crap. And also, I think this is also like it's like a cheap signing, as in like, I feel like, because I know he could play right back, so I won't even be surprised if maybe we don't sign a right back, and instead we use Ben White as a 2-in-1, like a centre back and a right back. Yeah, but in words, for me, it's tragic.
Tragic.
Like, what if, let's say this, my brother, what if the Ben White deal is the relationship builder between Brighton and Arsenal, and later in the window, you get Bissouma, but for a lower price because of what you did with Ben White?
See, the problem with that is you assuming Arsenal have logic. That's the problem with your thingy. This club does not run like that. We would probably sign, what's his name, Ben White, right? I doubt we're going to get Bissouma. We're probably going to get that Anderlecht guy. Can't say his name properly. We'll probably sign him. Yeah, him. And I don't think he's going to get any game time because, firstly, if Saliba can't get game time, there is no way this guy's going to get game time. We'll probably sign maybe a Ruben Neves probably there. But I have no faith in this transfer window. It's the same. Every year it's the same. So why this year? Like, what hope do I have this year suddenly going to change?
I mean, what I will say is that Lokonga is a very highly talented player. That's nearly over the line. Ben White, highly touted. That's nearly over the line. I do think what you've got to realize is that no club consistently signs their players in order of priority. Because I'll tell you what Basuma's doing. It's not about Brighton and Arsenal. It's about Basuma. It's why Arsenal have inquired about so many football players. Whether Gooners want to hear it or not, they're not sure who wants to join them. Basuma might say, yeah, I'm up for joining. But I think his agents are going to say, well, just hang on a minute, because, you know, these 3 or 4 other clubs, maybe a few of them Champions League clubs, have inquired about you. They haven't been as aggressive yet as Arsenal. But let's just hold out, enjoy our summer a little bit, and not rush into any hasty decisions, if that makes sense. So if that's the case, if my scenario is true, why would Arsenal not get deals done for players that want to come in at the same time? Imagine they wait. Oh, we can't sign Ben White because Amin has said that we should sign our priorities first. And then by the time they get round to Ben White, he's already signed for a rival. Do you get where I'm coming from?
Yeah, I do. But it's just that for so many years, it's been the same story where we get the priority wrong. Like, for example, the one of the callers said the Pepe deal, prime example, right? Pepe, I love Pepe. But, you know, that winger, that season, we didn't really need Pepe. And it's just that the same pattern. That's why I don't really have any hope on anything changing, because it's the same people doing the same transfers, like the same owners. That's why I don't really have any hope on maybe us getting another centre mid, like you guys said, Basuma. That's what it's just how it is for me. These owners have just, for the same like last 10 years, I don't know, it's been the same stuff. Just don't have any hope.
I mean, I do hear you. I hear you. A lot of people disagreeing with you in the comments, but thank you for phoning into the Terrace, mate, and having your say. Thank you very, very much indeed. We're going to jump. I'm going to put James White on. James White looks perplexed backstage. If you are perplexed, if you're annoyed with what Amin has just said, I'm going to share the link in the live comment section for you. It's also available in the Arsenal chat room on the Discord server. Hit the like button, subscribe to the Football Terrace, turn on the bell notifications. James White, is here with us now.
Yeah, it was good, Terry. How's it going?
Amin?
To be honest, not to be rude, but I disagree with everything he said. Everyone's entitled to his opinion, and it is his opinion, but I see something different from Arsenal in this transfer window than I have with other transfer windows. We are being active. We are going after targets that we want. And the way we're doing deals seems to be a lot smarter in not just one transfer, but across the board. You look at our, for example, our youth prospects. A lot of them have left. 3 youth products left Arsenal Academy, but we've inserted sell-on clauses onto them. We didn't do that with, I don't know, like Marlon, who plays for PSV in Holland. We didn't do that for Benacer, who signed for AC Milan. We got nothing out of them, and they're really good young players. And the way I see what we're doing with our transfer business, I think it's very, very smart. And yeah, with the Ben White situation, I'm really, really excited. I've been on a previous stream where I said I was really, really excited for the transfer, and I think for our system, he can play in multiple positions, and we know Arteta likes to use inverted fullbacks, and we often, when we're attacking, we go to a 3. You've seen Xhaka drop in when we have played that, and I think Ben White allows us to do that even better, and even maybe not drop into an inverted system, but just play with a solid back 4. So we've got, as I said, that more attacking presence, which we don't have because we don't score goals. And I think adding him, as long with Gabriel and Saliba, as you said, is a great foundation for us to build on. The only thing I'm worried about is if they then loan out Saliba. I don't think that's the right call. I think they should be letting go of Rob Holding. But overall, I think it's a really, really positive first signing, and let's see what happens in the next transfer window. So, yeah.
I hear that. I mean, KJ, you're listening as a neutral to this. We have Amin, who is just perplexed. He says it's tragic. You've got James here that says, you know, he's really encouraged by the way Arsenal are behaving. What's your take on those two different views?
I'm more inclined to lean to James's point of view. I understand where Amin's coming from. Again, it's coming from the place of jadedness from the ownership, the mistrust, the dislike, the disdain, and I completely get that. But when you take that part of you away and just look at it objectively, Arsenal are moving differently. They are trying to get things done quicker. They are trying to make sure they're getting the right signings in terms of, does the player actually want to be here? There's been lots of cases at Arsenal where you can question, does the player actually want to be here? Do they actually want to play for Arsenal Football Club? Now you're making sure that they do. That's a completely different way of going about things. Going for a different profile of player. You're no longer trying to get the foreign stars just because they came from a different league and did well. You're looking within the Premier League majority for the majority of it. You're looking if they cut it in the Prem. Are they good players? Are they talented? Are they young? And you're going after that. And I feel like as Arsenal fans, yes, be wary and always have that sense of mistrust. But see what's happening. Be like, okay, cool. Let me see where this goes, because at the end of the transfer window, if you come out with Ben White, Lokonga, Bissouma, a Max Aarons, let's say for right back, and maybe a cover left back or a cover striker, you're looking at your team and then like, actually, no, we can maybe progress as a team and as a club. I feel like you just need Arsenal fans just get a little bit of time and just see what happens at the end of the window, like I said before. And if it's at the end of the window, it looks the same, and all it is Ben White with a couple of ex-wash stars at the end of the window, then yeah, start cussing. But I feel like there is something changing at Arsenal because they have to change. There's nothing left for them to do.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think the type of centre-back that we're going for, like I'm not saying he's similar to David Luiz, but you've seen how much Arteta used David Luiz in the prior season, and his ball-playing ability, David Luiz, we can't argue that it is not very, very good. He is a very, very good ball-playing defender, but he's prone to mistakes. And from what I've seen of Ben White, I'm not going to say I've watched him throughout the season, but from what I have seen, he's played a lot of games. He played a lot of games for Brighton, and he played a lot of games for Leeds, and he doesn't have that error-prone mentality that David Luiz has. So we're replacing one good ball-playing centre-back with another younger, good ball-playing centre-back that cuts out the errors, and he's also got that higher ceiling. It's just like a similar move for me from when City signed John Stones. John Stones was a very similar fee, I'm not going to say the same profile, but you got the comparison. Young English centre-back that is for Everton was a lower team. He just needs to prove it now, and I'm of that mindset. That's why I'm optimistic of the signing.
I totally get where you're coming from, James. I do. Great explanation from yourself, and of course, KJ, top man for coming on, James, and having to say. But this is where the problem lies. So there's a quote tweet here, Sam Maguire, Liverpool-based journalist, who says, quote tweets Ornstein's tweet and says, "I thought Konate for 36 million was good business. Now I think it might be a bargain." And they're like, listen, it's banter. But do you know the problem with banter on socials is too many people, KJ, take it as read. They take it far too seriously, because it's a case of, well, anyone with a brain knows that Konate's situation was different because there was a buyout clause installed.
Yeah.
So it's like when Chelsea. The one that used to get me is how have a club spent 60 million on a midfielder when N'Golo Kante cost Chelsea 27 million? Buyout clause. That's why he was 27 million. If Konate didn't have the buyout clause, you're picking him up for well over 50 million pounds. So yeah, it's good business. But could Arsenal have signed Konate in front of Liverpool? The answer is no. So it's like I said, I remember someone saying before, well, why did you spend so much money on Maguire? And I remember being in this debate. So okay, who else could we have signed? Because I could name 5-6 centre-backs that are better than him for that money. And all the players he named were individuals that were either in situations or at clubs that would never sell to Man United. So it becomes it doesn't matter who's better if they're not attainable. So it doesn't matter that Konate is cheaper or Rafael Varane are appearing as cheaper. They're not available to Arsenal, and their price is cheaper for the clubs that are getting them because of contractual reasons. Both contractual reasons. Well, a buyout clause. One is in the last year of his deal. It's like this. Jules Koundé. Look how much Koundé's cost him. Because it's costing like 80 odd million pounds for him because of his age, length, and time left in his contract. Pau Torres is like 65 million euro buyout clause, which is a lot of money. But again, Pau Torres is cheaper than somebody with the same ability who doesn't have a buyout clause. And I get that Sam Maguire, the journalist, is having a joke here, but this is the problem. Too many people take it as, I'm going to use that. That's my train of thought. They're not seeing the joke. Does that make sense? They're taking it as real, like real analysis, as opposed to he's bantering you. Don't take it seriously.
Yeah, I'm just learning to try and ignore most things that I see online, just for the fact that you can't really take them seriously. At the end of the day, you can never really, unless you do what you did the other day with Johnny, where you ask for clarity and what do you mean and specifics.
That don't work, does it?
Yeah, and even then, people fully having a pop. So yeah, it's best to take these things with a pinch of salt and not let it get to you guys, because I know that it will trigger so many Arsenal fans. So yeah. Just don't, if you don't like it, just literally just scroll past it or block them or whatever and just move on. At the end of the day, football is supposed to be fun and it shouldn't be a fight every single
day.
Right,
and it's like this Konate tweet. It's like when I read it, I laughed, I chuckled because I understand that it's a joke, but it's this case of people, Liverpool Konate for 36 million. This is a joke. You're ignoring the context of the situation. Like, you're not seeing the fun within that. Twisted here says, Terry, how much of a transfer fee is strictly on a player's ability? There's no said fast rule. It depends on who the player is, in my opinion. So if I look at, you've got ability, then you've got potential, you have commerciality, you have growth of a team. So, and when I say growth of a team, one of the biggest factors that goes into player valuation is sporting potential. How much better could your team be with said player? So when you throw in ability, you put in potential, you put in sell-on value, you put in sporting achievements, you put the marketing and commercial point of view.
Contract as well.
Yeah, length of contract as well, to buy all of that out. There is no said percentage because it depends upon the individual player. You might have some that nearly 100% of their transfer fee is based on their ability. You might have some people where 40% is ability, 20% is based on the growth of the team because of that ability, and then on top of that, you've got this huge commercial element that they can make hundreds of millions of pounds from over a 5 to 10 year period. So you're paying for more. So there's no steadfast rule. There's no steadfast rule, in my opinion. Sonny, actually, this is what's weird. It's Sonny here. Sonny from, we haven't had Sonny on a while. LFC Sonny said Arsenal are more serious than Liverpool. Do you know one thing I have seen as well on socials the last few days? I've seen Liverpool and Chelsea fans getting really angry at their summer transfer window so far. Have you noticed that same trend?
Yeah, I've seen Liverpool fans starting to cuss FSG again. And it's just like, but I thought you guys were the masters of the transfer window and you do things differently to everyone else, and you guys buy everyone at the right price. And this is what I mean. Like, I'm just like, why are you guys getting vexed? If you are so almighty and so good at transfer windows, sure, you should know that this is your club and you're just doing things the way you do it. Liverpool aren't very loud in transfer windows anyway. So I don't see anything different that's happening right now. Like, no one actually really knows what Liverpool does until they do it.
Mate, 110%. 110%. I'm actually like, the timeline's popping in front of me now because I've obviously got Ben White in the search. Some of the things people are saying are not wrong, but I'm just enjoying reading the tape. There's a comment here from a Max who says RB Leipzig got 82 million for Upamecano and Konate, who they collectively signed for 18 million and replaced them with, I don't know who these players are, two of Europe's best up and coming players for 33 million euros. It's amazing how they do it. I totally understand where people are coming from, but you've got to understand why it's easier to, again, the way RB's model works. RB almost have these written agreements. Sometimes it's written, sometimes it's gentleman's agreement, but they sign these superstar players fairly cheaply from the level they're at. But there is always the agreement of, but we will let you go when a big team comes in for you. And that's how they're able to, that's why Salzburg, RB Salzburg, of course, owned by the same people, are able to bring in such talent because they know the next Mane knows after a good 18 months, he's going to be allowed to leave. And it's a case of, if you're Arsenal Football Club, Arsenal fans, I'd be mortified to have that model. I remember having this row with Tom from the Gooner Talk TV. I would never want my club to have a Dortmund or an RB or a model they've got. I don't believe that their model is we're going to sign superstars and we are going to make it. We're going to pay them in a way and to keep it. So we develop them, but we keep them and we create a team that's there to win trophies. I think that their view is we'll bring them in, we'll create really good, exciting teams, but we will sell them at some point. Does that make sense? Yeah. Why would you do that? When your model is you're going to sell them at some point, I think you can get deals done a little bit cheaper because a lot of the buying clubs have sell-on clauses included and other things like that. Arsenal are not going to be able to do business like that because Arsenal ideally are looking to sign a player that they want to keep for the next 10 years and be part of, in an ideal world, title-winning teams.
Spurs should do that, though. Spurs should definitely do that. That's what Spurs should be doing.
Probably should. But that business model, as we said, when you look at a player's valuation, how much you pay, sporting potential, if you're buying a player because you want to build a winning team over a long period of time around them, you're going to be charged more money than, we're doing it for a few years and we're selling him on. Well, okay, well, we want 30% of the sell-on fee. We'll give you a lower transfer fee up front. Everyone's a winner. These things just need to be discussed. Plus, we also know, like, it costs Premier League clubs a lot more money to buy players because we have a lot more money. Do you know what I mean? Like, just a TV deal does that. But there we go. We're going to do a couple more calls here before the end of the show. Do me a big, big favor. If you're just tuning in, hit that like and that share button. And the breaking news this afternoon, Arsenal have submitted a £50 million bid, 45 million plus 5 in add-ons for Brighton and England centre-back Ben White. It's come a little earlier than people expected, but the player wants to join. Arsenal want him. The done deal is moving ever closer. We have a super chat here from Wayne who says, Terry, that is why Arsenal didn't agree to the 10% sell-on clause for Buendia.
10% though.
Maybe that's part of the reason. I still think you should have done, because if Arsenal achieve, I suppose if Arsenal achieve, you're not going to sell him, but then you don't want to lose any of the sell-on value if you do. If you were a feeder club, though, if you were essentially a feeder club, then maybe you wouldn't mind having that because you'd pick them up cheaper. Or maybe you wouldn't have minded the 10% if that 10% you would lose was offset in a cheaper signing up fee at the beginning. Maybe then you would have gone for it. And that's I get
even then, I think 10%.
Sorry, Cage?
10% is too small for Arsenal to be like, oh yeah, we're 10%. How dare you even try and get that from us? Like, nah, if it was 40 or 35 or so, I'd understand, but 10, like, it's not that deep, man. No.
I hear you. Next on the show, we're gonna go to Leaf. Leaf, we know he's a Tottenham fan sometimes. How you doing, bro?
Yeah, I'm very good. I want to clarify. I'm a Tottenham fan, but I don't support Man U. I like Man U. That's it.
Okay, you clarified. Yes. Give us your thoughts on Ben White.
Yeah, I mean, I would be excited if I'm an Arsenal fan, obviously, because it's not an Arsenal fan's job to really be mad at such a good centre back. Ben White, I think, is one of the best ball playing center backs. He passes really well. However, I think that a backline of Gabriel and Ben White is too inexperienced, and especially for Ben White, he was not really a leader. Lewis Dunk was there with him, and he always played a 3 at the back. So maybe adapting to 2 at the back, that might be different for him. So we never know. And I think that 50 million. That's the price you have to pay, especially because he's English and he's from the Premier League. But then again, you could have gotten other better center backs. But I mean, like so many Arsenal fans said, it's not a problem that you sign Ben White, but you have to, of course, improve on the positions that you need to improve on. So that's what I think.
Yeah, hear you on that completely, Leaf. Thank you very much for calling in and having your say. We're going to do one more call over. We have got 12 people or so waiting backstage, but we're going to go to, he's been waiting a while, Chelsea fan with us. Ziad is in the house. What you saying, bro?
Afternoon, Terry. Afternoon, KJ.
What's up,
Afternoon. What you here to say, my friend?
I think you've made great points, Terry. I think when I look at his perspective of the player, it's a no-brainer for him to move to Arsenal. You get to live in London. And as much as we like to take the mick out of Arsenal, they're still a big club. They've still got a bit of history behind them. Also, the name of the club, he'll big up his name. He'll for the future as well. He's only young, so when you're at a club like Arsenal, and then you're known for that kind of stuff, your name will be bigger, and that will only help him to get bigger moves for the future. He's clearly a good player. You know, Bielsa, top manager, wanted him back on a permanent when he was on loan to Leeds. Brighton did all they could to keep him. They did keep him, and now he's got his move to Arsenal. The only negative I would say is, yeah, the price tag is a lot of money, but the only negative I see for Arsenal is that if they signed Ben White at the expense of other main targets, so if they splash 50 million on a Ben White, and then when they want to go save for James Maddison, and then all of a sudden Leicester ask for big money, they're like, oh wait, we use majority of that on Ben White. We can't do that now. That's where Arsenal fans may turn on the owners. So that's maybe a little bit negative, but we don't know. Clearly, maybe some reports are saying they've got money to spend. I'm sure, look, we could take the piss out of the owners as much as we can. I'm sure they know what they're into a certain extent of who they're signing players and why, and what future targets they have. The thing that's annoying me as a Chelsea fan is we sold Tomori for 24 million, and now Ben White is gone for 50 million. Call me biased, but I'm sure Tomori is a better defender than Ben White.
See, you're right. There's a few things in that. Arsenal are buying a homegrown talent, which is a requirement of the squad. So there's a premium on that. And that would be the same, I think, in every respective country. On top of that, you're missing out the most important bargaining chip. Chelsea wanted to sell Tomori. Brighton don't. Yeah. And this is where fans sometimes get confused between what they want, think, and feel. I've done this many times. And the realities of business-to-business sales transactions. Brighton are like, well, you really want him. We don't want to sell him. Make us a big offer. AC Milan are saying, we want him. You don't want him. You can't. Chelsea have a weaker negotiating point. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and also,
and that's why if Tomori was part of your first team and Milan wanted him, they're spending 60-70 million quid, but he isn't. So it's hard to demand that price.
Also the bad where Chelsea messed about, not change subject, but when we send him on loan, we also said, if you were at the end of the loan, if you'd like to sign him, this is the deal. This is 24 million.
Yeah, exactly, and that was done ahead of time, and maybe at the point when he was loaned out, there wasn't the expectation for him to do so. Maybe some people at Chelsea have got that particular deal wrong. You've already set that price; it's contractual. You can't go back on it. Maybe if there wasn't that, and then they came back, you might be able to bump an extra 10-15 million pound on. So, once bitten, twice shy. There is a comment here that I saw, it made me laugh, from Jack Daniels, who says, why are you guys always talking about Arsenal? Shows about Arsenal. That's why we're talking about my brother. Ziad, thank you very much for coming on, man, having your say. I really do appreciate that. Top man. Everyone who's tuned into the Football Terrace today, a massive thank you to each and every single one of you. We're back live tonight at 9 p.m. We are debating the best player. This is to vote for the official fan awards from Give Me Sport. Official fan awards from Give Me Sport. The best player of the group stages. The live vote is now open. You can go now and start voting for who your best player, who you think out of these 6 players should be voted as the best player of the group stages of the tournament. I've posted the link for the website here at fan-awards.com. Go and get the voting done now. You can see, you go on there, you see all other sort of nominees and winners from different polls and votes for over the course of the year. We do these every month. We're going to be doing these regularly now on the Football Terrace moving forward. So join us at 9 o'clock. We're doing a bit of a roundup of the Euros, voting for the best player at the tournament as well. Cannot wait to see you all there. But until next time, people, look after yourselves. Take care. Goodbye. God bless. Smash that like button, and we'll see you all again soon.